Ladies and gentlemen, the extreme heat is killing in America. The death toll is rising every day, and it's doing the same thing over there in Europe. Places that never got this hot before. And if you remember last year in the Northwest, they had triple digits. I mean, Seattle was hitting, Washington State actually was hitting 112 degrees, 108 degrees. I mean, even Oregon. Well, that summer, 2021, there were over 600 fatalities from the heat. And they're looking at possibly more this year. The heat wave for us began on Monday. Do you know we're going all the way through the beginning of August still in a heat wave? Here where I am in New Jersey, we're going to be 100 degrees on Saturday and 102 degrees on Sunday. Those are some serious, serious temperatures and deadly temperatures, not only to homeless people, but people that have pre existing conditions. This can be dangerous, especially if you're living in homes that don't have any kind of AC, or we always know the homeless, they take the brunt of it when these temperatures hit. So last year, when it was hit, the heat wave hit the Northwest, they had melted power cables, buckled up roads, and temperatures hitting triple digits for millions of people in that area in the Northwest. Well, this year, New York and Boston got the earliest heat advisories for the year. Heat waves are again hitting the US, and a cardiologist is saying, it is a big concern, especially a long heat wave like we're having right now. This one's going to be a long one for many people. I know it's going to be a long one for us in the Northeast. And when the heat wave hit the Northwest, they said over 600 people died in a 1 week period from the heat. And this is in Oregon and Washington. So the climate is increasing. I think we all notice this. I sure do. And the heat waves are becoming very excessive and extreme. So this cardiologist is saying my patients and many others may face a severe health consequences. According to the estimates, the National Weather Service, the heat has been the single largest contributor to weather related deaths over the last 30 years. In two recent studies, my colleagues and I investigated the number of deaths linked to extreme heat events in the US, and we found between 2008 and 2017, between 13,000 to 20,000 adults were linked to extreme heat deaths. Half of them had heart disease. Another recent study examined hot weather rather than extreme heat and suggested that up to 20,000 deaths in a year in North America may be linked to hot weather. The human body functions in a narrow temperature window. Multiple mechanisms in the body attempts to keep it, it tries to make adjustments as the temperatures get hotter. So the extreme heat stresses every organ in the human body as it struggles to control the core temperature. The heart plays a crucial role in this as it helps to pump blood away from the central parts of the body to the skin. For some people with pre existing heart disease or other conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes. The extra strain placed on the heart by extreme heat could lead to heart attacks and strokes. Finally, if heat levels continue to increase, which they are, the body suffers from multi organ failure and eventual death. Like all public health issues in the country, the burden of extreme heat falls unequally on certain people. The study found a link between extreme heat deaths and was stronger among older people compared to young adults, men compared to women. Wow, that is interesting. So more men die from extreme heat than women? I did not know that. Wow. So, heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic medical conditions can make a person more vulnerable to the health effects of the extreme heat. All right. However, there are other structural reasons behind some of the differences due to a long history of segregation and discrimination housing practices in the US. Black Americans tend to live in neighborhoods that are uniquely vulnerable to extreme heat. You know what? They're right. They're right. When I was growing up in the city of Philadelphia, we lived in a row home back then. And the windows are only in the front and the back of the house. You don't have a lot of side windows at all. So when the heat got to be too much, because it's like being in an oven, when you're in those brick row homes, it's like a brick oven because you got that flat tar roof, and it just makes, to me, that kind of roof just makes the situation worse. But that's what they have. Even when you go to Camden, New Jersey, that's what they have. You got these brick homes all in a row, those flat tar roofs, and man, on a hot day you feel like you're roasting in an oven. And if that air is not blowing, through your front or your back windows, you're you're screwed. Back in the day, and people may still do this, a lot of people slept outside on their porch because it was just too hot in the house on certain summer days. I remember waking up in the morning and I would look down the street and I would see people just stretched out on their porch. He said it's better outside than it was inside those brick row homes. And that is the truth. I even experienced that. I didn't sleep on the porch, but we did live in those homes. And I remember how hot they got in the summer, you know. So I can see, and there were fatalities from the heat even back then. Those stories would make the news, and I remember hearing about them when I was growing up in the city. It was always somebody dying from the heat. So they're right when they say, the neighborhoods that many of us live in do make you vulnerable to the heat. That's man, that's very true. But that's all by design. They know it's going to be that way for us. That's why they came up with redlining. Okay. So, of course, in the event where you notice or you know of people in your family that are struggling with health issues, you might want to check on them to make sure they're okay, especially if they have any type of heart problems or pre existing conditions. You want to check on them and make sure they're indoors and they have a sufficient way to cool themselves down if they have to. Okay. So we know everything is going up and it's not going to change. This is ultimately going to get worse every single year. And this year, by far, is definitely worse than 2021. You know, anytime we start a heat wave on the 18th and we're already on August 3rd and it's not even ending then, yeah, no, we did not have that last year at all. Okay, so in January 2021, the Department of Health and Human Services established the Office of Climate Change and Health Equity to serve as a department wide hub for climate change and health policy, as if any of their departments have been any use to us because we know they're not. Okay, so these measures are a welcome start, but they are far from enough. We need urgent interventions to make neighborhoods more resilient to extreme heat. In the absence of any national plan to address the impact of extreme heat, there is a patchwork of the state and local regulations with a varying levels of protection and resources for Americans. Currently, 33 states have no protections against power shutoffs during extreme heat events. The establishment of cooling centers is similar haphazard. A survey of the New York State counties found that more than one third had no clear cooling plan and had no plans to establish cooling centers. Hmm. Yeah, around here, when the heat gets to be too much, a lot of people go used to go up to the mall back in the day because the mall was completely air conditioned and people would hang out up there. So, you know, America never have the things they should have planned out. I think in their minds, none of these things like the pandemic and this extreme heat that's going on for more than 14 days, they just assume these things would never happen. So why plan for that rainy day? Because these things aren't going to happen to us. Look at who we are. These things aren't going to happen. Well, it is happening. It is happening. And it's bad over there in Europe. They are dying by the hundreds every day. Y'all, if this ain't judgment, you're going to have to tell me what you think it is in the comment section. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.